We are live. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. Today is Monday, June 3rd. I can actually say that because we are live. And I'm with an old friend. He's not old. We've just known each other a very long time. Jere Matheny is here with us. We're going to talk about the Black Orlando Real Estate Club. You heard that right. Black Orlando Real Estate Club. I saw it online. I thought this is amazing. Reached out to Jere, and the event that they're hosting is tonight, which is why we are live June 3rd, 5 o'clock at Citrus Club. You can still register, and you can see the link below in the comments that I'll put. But I'm super excited to have him here to kind of share a little bit about his journey and then talk about the Black Orlando Real Estate Club. Welcome, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm honored to have you. It's been a long time coming. All right. Before we take a deep dive into the event and the club, tell them a little bit about you.
All right. So my name is Jere Matheny. I am a Florida native, born and raised in South Florida, West Palm Beach. I've been in Orlando now since 2001. My professional background is I was an equities trader for about 8 or 9 years. After that, I made my way into the commercial real estate space, and commercial real estate is kind of what brings us to this particular celebratory day and occasion that we're going to be discussing today in terms of the formulation of the Black Orlando Real Estate Club. So this is very exciting.
Listen, I am always excited to have someone who does something different, creates an organization that's inclusive, which we'll talk about as well. And I'm also excited to have a commercial person on the show because, believe it or not, you all are hard to find. We were talking about that earlier, and I don't have a lot of commercial real estate people on the show. So I'm excited to learn about that. We're going to bring Jere back to talk all about that.
Okay.
But today, let's talk about the Black Orlando Real Estate Club. Why? How did it come into fruition?
So the Black Orlando Real Estate Club was something that I kind of, dreamt up, maybe 10, 12 years ago during my early days in commercial real estate. Commercial real estate has been great for me and for my family. And so, one of the things that I wanted to do and that I promised the Most High, I'm a very spiritual individual as well. And so I said, look, if you bless me with the opportunity to do what I now have, known to love to do, to be successful at it, then I will reach back and bring some of those along who may not have been aware of the benefits of being in this particular industry. And so that's essentially how, the Black Orlando Real Estate Club was born. It was because when I first got into commercial real estate, it was much less diverse than it is right now. All of the big shops and, all of the organizations that are involved in commercial real estate have collectively done a phenomenal job over the last decade at seeking out, a diverse set of voices and individuals for commercial real estate. But when I first started, none of that really, existed, or it was just in its infancy stages. And so one of the things that I thought would have helped me grow faster, learn faster, was to have someone who looks like me, who could tell me, hey, this is what you should think about doing. Maybe you should think about not doing that based on my experience. And so I wanted to create a platform, a community of folks that can be that for each
mentorship,
right? Exactly.
I love that because I think there are a lot of people who struggle in whatever industry they're in, real estate especially. And so they look a lot of times just to their broker, and a lot of times the broker is too busy with a million other things running a business.
Correct.
And so they lack that mentorship.
Correct.
Before we went live, we talked a little bit about how you were the only guy who looked like you. I like how you phrased that. And so there were stumbling blocks to getting people's attention or getting them to trust you because there wasn't anybody else in the room.
Sure. And there was nobody to vouch for you.
And there was nobody to vouch for you. And so tonight, the Black Orlando Real Estate Club, it's real estate, but you're bringing attorneys. Talk a little bit about the mix that people will see tonight.
Sure. So, there's several, 100% real estate focused groups that have been in existence for years. It's like NAREB, right? The National Association of Real Estate Brokers. That's one of the oldest trade organizations in the country that caters to African American realtors, brokers, developers. And so, I didn't want to be that because they're already doing a phenomenal job.
And they're doing fantastic.
At that. They're going to be in attendance tonight. The Orlando Women's Council of Realtors are going to be in attendance tonight as well. So it's a collaborative effort. But I wanted to approach it from a much more inclusive mindset and viewpoint. I want you to have someone that you can call, you can text, you can email, regardless of what particular aspect of real estate you're involved in. So you don't necessarily have to be a realtor, but if you're an investor, right, there will be investors, there will be owners, there will be attorneys that handle real estate related items. There'll be architects, there'll be engineers, there'll be general contractors, there'll be plumbers, there'll be electricians, right? There'll be transportation service owners for that special client that's flying in from California. You want to pick them up in a Range Rover, Tahoe. You want to really operate on a high level. And in order to do that, you have to know who you can go to pull from and to connect with in order to meet those objectives. And so that's what this is all about. We want everybody in the room who's involved in any aspect of the built environment. That's the goal.
But where does that giving back, pouring into people spirit come from on you? Were you always like that? Were you raised in a family that was all about giving back? Where does that come from? Because a lot of people just do their job and move along. They don't think about mentorship or creating a collaborative space or an inclusive space. But you can tell when you're speaking about it that it's on your heart. So
absolutely.
Where does that come from?
Yeah, I'm passionate about it. So I grew up in a household that was very focused on civil rights and inclusivity and opportunity across the board. It's funny. I have a picture from maybe it was like 1980 where my mom was out like on the picket line with the NAACP, and I was awesome. Right next to her, just in the moment. And so we grew up in a time where our parents, they did what they could to put the next generation in position to go further, right? To do better, right? And so I personally feel, and this is no knock to any generation that's come, since my mother's generation and my generation, but I feel as though, the role models in the African-American community, they've been somewhat unavailable and inaccessible to a degree, right? And so, and part of that is a result of progress, right?
Correct.
We're not in the same communities that we grew up in, right? And so, when we grew up in the inner city. And so you had instant access to all levels of achievement. But one of the things that comes with social mobility and socioeconomic progress is that we disperse into different communities. We put our kids in private schools. We're trying to do the best for our families, right? But a lot of times what that creates, it creates a vacuum where, the talent is being pulled out of the community. And so this is an effort to bring us all back together and to have some visibility, right? There may be, so the other night I was at an event right here at Debonair Social Club. It was an attorney who was, celebrating, some particular event, but he's an immigration-based attorney. I met a young Haitian kid. He's from Boston, and he and I were exiting the venue at the same time. And, I had a suit on and I'm dressed well. And he's like, "Hey man, what do you do?" And so I said, "Well, I'm a commercial real estate executive." And he's like, "I'm from Boston, and there's groups that are hedge funds and private equity groups, and I've always thought about getting into commercial real estate, but I never really knew how to do it." And so we just happened to be on a block where my name is on the building. And so I said, "Hey, look across the building. We did XYZ in that building. Building sold for $10 million. This is how we did that." And so that was an opportunity to partake some wisdom and some knowledge into that particular individual.
Awesome.
But I want to make it more intentional. That was a chance meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the intentionality because I feel like no matter what business people are in, they're struggling coming out, trying to figure out the world's a different place than when I graduated high school and college and started my career. There's a lot of opportunity, and then it feels like to a lot of people there's not any opportunity.
Correct.
They struggle between those two. There's a million things you can do because Facebook and social media and everything else tells you, look at all of these things you can do.
Correct.
And yet when you try to do them, they're not paying the bills. There's nobody there to support you,
Correct.
nobody there to help you, which is why a group like this is so important. There's an intention behind it. A lot of times I go to these events, I go to groups. As you all know, I do a ton of events, and I'm always amazed at the fact that there's no introductions, there's no real communication unless you know the person. There's no opportunity for mentorship unless you are have enough confidence to go begin approaching people, which can be a daunting task and intimidating. And so to have an event like this, I think just has such a beautiful spirit behind it, and is much needed.
Absolutely. Can I say one thing about the inclusive nature of what we're building as well? Because I think, a lot of times when there is a certain demographic that's attached to a group, it gives a connotation of, we're not welcome.
Correct.
My goal, as we're sitting here together, is to expose folks who look like me to the best, regardless of what they look like, regardless of where they come from, right? We want to expose young African Americans to Indian entrepreneurs, right? To Middle Eastern entrepreneurs, to Caucasian attorneys and insurance executives and mortgage brokers, right? Whatever you need in terms of network and exposure and contact in order to facilitate growth in your particular pursuit of happiness, we want to be able to assist in that. So it's not as if, we're only recommending an African American to an African American, right? We're recommending the best.
I love that. And I have to, I'm guilty of, when I saw the post, true confessions, I always tell the truth here, is I reached out to Jere and I'm like, hey, this sounds like a great event. Am I allowed to go? And it was a real question because, I didn't know the whole background to it. I didn't understand the function or what the purpose and what your intentions were at the time. I knew they would be good, but I didn't know that because I've been to some groups where, I'm a dude, so dudes aren't welcome. I was telling you that before we went live. And so I love the fact that it's inclusive, and what you're trying to do is expose to all levels of people, and you want to attract people who also want to give back. At the mentor level, you want to attract people who say, I have the same heart as Jere does. I would like to give back. I'd like to mentor someone. I'd like to be their point of reference, help them out, because there is so much that they can do, but they need somebody to kind of do the hand up. You've got to help them up.
That's right.
And there are so many people that are getting out of college or trade school or even graduating high school, and they're like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And then there are people who are starting out in business. They've left a firm and now they're starting on their own. They have no idea what they've gotten themselves into. And so to have a pool of people who are there to try to help you progress is just really a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
So tell them about the event. It's 5 o'clock today.
It's 5 o'clock today, 5 to 8. We are going to have Mayor Jere Demings, who has presided over explosive growth throughout Orange County. He's going to give the opening address and kind of just welcome folks and, reiterate some of the things that those of us that are operating on a certain level already know. And that is Central Florida is the land of opportunity.
Amen to that.
And we just want to make sure that we don't allow this, what I would consider a once in a lifetime growth opportunity, to pass us by.
Agreed.
Major metropolitan areas only grow up once. Once they're there, they're there. Right. But there's a lot of upside left in Central Florida. And I just want to make sure that we have the necessary information, the knowledge, the contacts to be in a position to benefit from the growth that we're seeing in Central Florida. And so, if we all do our part, right, those of us who have been blessed with a certain level of success, if we all adopt that each one reach one type of mentality, I think that it'll strengthen not only the minority community, but it'll strengthen the community in general. Because I always believe that you need a diverse range of voices at the table.
You do.
Right? There's not one particular community that has a patent on ideas and innovation.
That's right.
And I believe that America in general, right, which, America gets sometimes a challenging rap when it comes to race relations. And so, we have to understand that, listen, certain groups have had a challenging existence, right? But one of the things that we also have to keep in mind is that America has been good to us, right? To all of us, right? And so I can't, think of another place where individuals are going to have a broad range of opportunities to be who they want to be, right? And so I just want to make sure that we have equal access to the growth and the opportunities that America is providing for us, right?
So good.
Yeah.
So good. All right. So if you want to learn more about Jere, you can find him on social media. I'll put that link in the comments below after the show. You can also search on Facebook for Black Orlando Real Estate Club. You can text me at 407-810-5670, and I'll send you the link to register for tonight. We still have room. It's here at the Citrus Club at 5 o'clock, 5 to 8 p.m. So if you are interested at all or feel like you have that same thought process on your heart, or you may be someone who could use the hand up, who could use the mentorship, we want to encourage you to come tonight. Make sure you register so they know. You're amazing. I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate all that you do for our community. I mean, it's just amazing. And I'm so excited to be here tonight. 5 o'clock. It's the Black Orlando Real Estate Club. Reach out to me or reach out to Jere, and we'll get you in. We'd love to see you here.
Thank you very much.
Brother. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you soon.